Hello guys, welcome to a new video, and in this video we are going to be going over these a FlexVPN hub to spoke configuration. And basically FlexVPN it just means that we are going to be using IK version 2 instead of IK version 1. IK version 2 is a lot better than IK version 1. Everything is integrated in IK version 2, where in IK version 1 everything was a different protocol. Like for instance, ISACamp and all those different protocols, they just got added to IK version 1 through the years. But in what's up with this? But in IK version 2, everything came with our protocol, right? And also in IK version 2, or aka FlexVPN, you can have different keys: a key for the remote location and a key for the local. So you can authenticate using two different keys. In IK version 1, you cannot do that at all, right? And so we are going to be doing that, and it's going to be a FlexVPN hub to spoke communication. So it's going to be basically a site-to-site VPN. And the difference between a site-to-site and a remote VPN is that the site-to-site, they are done via the routers, right? The end devices, the routers. And when you're using a remote VPN connection, it is usually when a client connects to a server. So those are the major, the major difference between them. So let's go ahead and configure this FlexVPN, and this is for the SIMOS exam topics, which I'm trying to take. I have been not studying a lot recently because of the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I was traveling a lot. So let's just stop talking and let's go ahead and start configuring. So I'm going to start with the hub, and I'm using EvenG. You can use GNS3 with this. I don't know if you are going to be able to use Packet Tracer though. I don't remember the last time I used Packet Tracer. After I got done with even with the CCNA routing and switching, I switched to GNS3, and now I move up to the big leagues, and I'm now using EvenG, which is a little bit better. Well, it's a lot better. Not a lot better, but it is better than GNS3, right? So let's go ahead and start with this configuration, and I'm going to start with the hub. And from the hub, the first thing that I want to do is that I want to see if I have connection between all the sites. So I want to ping 10.10.10.1, which is router 2. I have a connection. Let's see if I'm able to ping router 3. So I'm able to ping both of them. So I have a connection. Before you configure VPN, you want to make sure that you have a connection. Otherwise, it won't work, right? Because the packets won't be able to travel. They won't be able to authenticate. They won't be able to do anything. And let's go ahead and start with this configuration. So first thing, right? Config T. What we want to do first, I want to create a interface, a virtual template, and this virtual template is going to be number 3. It's going to be a type tonal, and inside here, all we want to do is a tonal mode. That I want to do tonal mode. It's going to be GRE over IP. After that is created, what we want to do is we want to do a crypto. It's going to be a crypto IKv2 keyring. So we have to configure the keyring, and I'm going to just call this IKv2 keyring. There we go. That's the name of it. So we want to do peer number 2, which is we are going to do like this. It's going to have an address of 10.10.10.1, which I already pinged, and we're going to do a pre-share local key. We are going to keep it the same, CCNP security. Let's go ahead and make it this bigger so you guys can see the entire command. A little bit bigger than that. There we go. No? Bigger than that still? This command is really long. So CCNP, here you go, CCNP security. I guess I didn't need to make it that bigger. I don't know why it didn't size. Okay, so then we want to do a pre-shared key remote CCNP security as well. So the local is going to be how we are going to authenticate locally. So now in the remote is going to be the key of this remote peer. So I'm going to keep it the same so we don't get confused. So CCNP security and CCNP security for both of them. Then we are going to do peer router 3, and it's going to have the same, it's going to be the different IP address though. 20.1, the remote pre-share key and the local pre-share key are the same. We are going to exit twice. After I do that, I need to go ahead and configure the crypto EIGRP2 profile. And in that EIGRP2 profile, this is what combines the virtual template that I just created, the EIGRP2 keyring that I just created, and then we are going to say how we are going to authenticate. And I also need to specify the identity of the local, which is this router right here, and the identity of the remote, so router 2 and router 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Crypto EIGRP2 profile. We are going to be calling this EIGRP2 profile. And now, the first thing that I want to do is the identity of one of the remote user or the remote router, which is 10.10.10.1. Actually, I need to put address in front of it. There we go. And then the other identity of that remote router is 10.10.20.1, which is router 3. Okay. Then we got to do the local, not local, identity, local, and it's going to be the IP address of that local hub router, which is this one. And I always forget to put address in front of it, as you can see. So that's done. After that, I need to tell the router how we are going to authenticate. And it's going to be the local is going to be using a pre-share key, which we configure already using the keyring, right? And also for the authentication of the remote, you can either use a EAP, AnyConnect EAP, ECDSA, SIG, pre-share key, and RSA SIG as well. But we are using a pre-share key. There we go. So that's done. After that, we need to attach two things. The first one needs to be the keyring, which is the local, and we call this EIGRP2 keyring. Then we are going to add the virtual template that we created, and we name it number 3. All right, that's good. After that, we need to go ahead and create the crypto IPsec transform set. And in here, we need to tell it how, or like what we are going to be using. First, we need to name it. I'm going to just name it tset, and we are going to specify how we are going to encrypt this tunnel. And it's going to be encrypted using ESP. You can either use ESP or AES or HH or HA. HA means, or AH. I'm sorry. AH means, if you do a question mark, you can see it right here. AH is authentication header. The authentication header only provides it provides encryption, integrity, and authentication, but it does not support the anti-replay, but ESP does. So that's why we're going to use ESP. And as you can see right here, it doesn't even let you do authentication header. If you do, oh, it does let you do it, but yeah, well, it is over here. As you can see right here, the option of AH. But we're not going to use AH because AH supports everything besides anti-replay, and ESP does support anti-replay. So we are going to be configuring ESP, and we are going to say we're going to use AES encryption 256, and then we're going to do ESP, and we're going to do for data integrity, we're going to use SHA with HMAC. After that is on, we need to attach the transform sets to the IPsec profile that we're going to be creating, and also we need to attach the EIGRP2 profile that we also created. So we do a crypto IPsec profile. We are going to be just calling this IPsec profile. And inside right here, we need to set the transform sets. We name that tsets. We also need to set the EIGRP2 profile, which we call EIGRP2 profile. There we go. So that is all done. So we are done with FlexVPN, configuring FlexVPN. So after that is done, we are going to be using EIGRP for the dynamic routing protocol. So let's go ahead and configure router EIGRP. We are going to name this 10. Let's just do now the summary like we always do. The first network that I want to add. So I want to add 2 networks. It's going to be the tunnel network, and also it's going to be the we are going to add a loopback address that I have. So if you do show IP interface brief, you're going to see what I have configured right here. So I have configured this loopback address and this other loopback address. So the one that we're going to be using is going to be 33.33.33.33. That's the one that we're going to add to it. And we also are going to add the I believe we don't have to actually add. Let me see if I'm doing this correctly. So for this one, we are going to be using, for the tunnel, we are going to be using the IP address of one of the loopback address. So let's just use this 3.3.3.3. So from over here, let's just do network 3.3.3.3, and that's the one that we're going to add. We can also, let's just add both of them actually. Let's do network 33.33.33.33. There we go. Exit. After that is done, let's go ahead and finish with the configuration of the virtual template. So we're going to do interface virtual template, which is number 3, was type tunnel. And over here, we need to tell it that we want to do no IP split horizon, EIGRP 10, and then we need to add, let me see if I remember, we need to add the tunnel. So tunnel protection IPsec profile. Oh, actually I call this IPsec profile. Okay, IPsec profile, IPsec profile. There we go. So that is done. You can see that the tunnel protection came up. Also, we need to do IP on number, and we need to use loopback address number 3. Okay. So after that is done, we need to do the tunnel. What if we do the tunnel source, which is going to be 10.10.30.1? That's good. And I believe this is set for the hub configuration. Let's go do an end and do a show. Let's do a show run. And we're going to do a pipe section. I just want to see the crypto section. And from over here, we're going to copy the entire configuration that we did. And this one was done, that we created the EIGRP2 keyring. We also did the profile, and we did the transfer sets and the IPsec profile. So we're going to copy all of that, and we're going to paste it into LeafPad. And we are just going to paste it into router 2 and router 3, but all we need to do is just configure a couple of things. So the first one that we need to configure is the EIGRP2 keyring, since we are only going to add the hub, because that's the only one that we want to connect to, and it's going to be 30.1. Also, we need to go ahead and configure the EIGRP2 profile to say that we want to connect to 30.1. The local identity is going to be 10.10.1, and the template, we are not going to be using a virtual template because we're not going to do spoke to spoke. We are only going to be doing hub to spoke. Okay, let me verify that everything is good. Everything is good. Everything looking good. So let's go ahead and configure. Let's go ahead and configure router 2. Let's go ahead and copy this. Let's go ahead and bring up router 2, which is right here. Enable config T. Go ahead and paste all that. Why is it not pasting? Give me 1 second. Copy. And it doesn't let me paste that in here. So I thought we were going to be able to do that. Let's go ahead and try just one last time. Copy. There we go. Paste. And now we pasted all that configuration in there. Why it doesn't let me click? I do not know why. Did it freeze or something? Let's go ahead and launch it again. Okay, we can do end. We can do a show run, making sure that everything was configured. Show run section crypto. Verify that everything got in there. Yep, it looks like everything got in there. So that is good. Now let's go ahead and also do it for router 3. For router 3, it's going to be the same for the hub. Same. It's going to be the same pre-share key. This one is going to be going to 30. Good. This one needs to be 20. Copy it. Let's go ahead and bring up router 3. A little bit big. Go ahead and make it smaller. There we go. It's not letting me paste again. There we go. So that's good. So we have configured that FlexVPN. What we need to do is now go ahead and configure the tunnel so we can connect to the hub. Config T. Now we need to do a tunnel. It's going to be tunnel router 2. You can name it whatever you want. We're doing the tunnel mode, GRE over IP, tunnel source. It's going to be 10.10.10.1. Tunnel destination. It's going to be 10.10.30.1. The IP of the hub. You can see that it came up now. Then we're going to do, let's do a do show IP interface brief, because we are going to be using the loopback address for the IP. So IP on number, loopback 0. And let me verify that we actually configure that for the hub, because I think I misconfigured that. Let's do a show IP interface brief. So we set loopback 3, which is unassigned. So we need to go ahead and go config T, interface, virtual, template 3 type tunnel. And let's say IP on number needs to be, we are going to be using loopback 0. Loopback 0. There we go. Let's go ahead and do a do show IP interface brief. And there we go. Now the virtual template has this IP address now. So that's good. So after that is done, we need to tell it that we are going to be using a tunnel protection with IPsec, and the IPsec profile that was configured, that we pasted, was IPsec profile. IPsec profile with 1E. There we go. You can see IPsec now came up, so that is good. And what else do we need to do? We need to go ahead and configure EIGRP. So let's go ahead and do a router EIGRP 10, no auto summary, network 1.1.1.1. There we go. EIGRP is now up. Do a show IP route. Let's make this bigger. Show IP route. You can see now that we have a route now to the 3.3.3 network going via the tunnel 2 that we created. So if we do a show IP interface brief, you can see that we have the tunnel created, and it's going, and it's using 1.1.1.1, and it was configured TFTP because we're using that loopback number 0. When we use that IP on number loopback 0, now you can do a show crypto IPv2 SA. You can see that we have form and IPv2 SA over here, so that is working correctly. If you do also a show IPsec SA, you can see that IPsec SA over here. You can see the local identity 10.10.10.1, remote identity 10.10.30.1, which is the hub. You can see that we are sending packets, and we see no errors right here, so that is good. And if you go to the hub, you do n show IP interface brief first. You can see that we have one virtual access, which is router 2, and it got this IP address because that's the IP address that we configure, so that's good. Show IP or show crypto IPv2 SA. You can see that IPv2 SA, the local identity, and the remote identity. We are using AES CBC. The key size is 256, and for data confidentiality, data encryption, and for data for identity, to protect the integrity, there is in SHA-512. The default human group is using group 5. The authentication that we're using is pre-share key, and the authentication verified is also using pre-share key. Lifetime 86400, which is 86400 is a default, right? So that is good. Now we are going to configure router 3, and when router 3 is configured, we are going to get another virtual access interface, and it's probably going to be virtual access number 2. So let's go ahead and configure that. We already configured FlexVPN, so all we need to do is configure the tunnel. Let's go ahead and do exit. We're going to the interface tunnel. Let's call it tunnel 3 IP on number. Actually, before we do that IP on number, we are going to do show IP interface brief, so we can see which IP on number we are going to be using. So we are going to be using loopback 0, which has this IP address 3.3.3.3. And actually, let's go ahead and just change this IP address to something else because the hub is using the same IP address. We don't want to get really confused. So let's go ahead and do interface loopback 0. And we're going to do an IP address of, let's do like 4.4.4.4. That's 255. Good. Do show IP interface brief 4.4.4.4. Good. Let's go ahead and interface tunnel. Let's go do tunnel 4. IP on number. It's going to be some loopback 0. We are going to do a tunnel mode GRE. This one is going to be over IP. After that is done, we need to do the source and the destination. Tunnel source 10.10.20.1. Tunnel destination 10.10.30.1. Then we do the tunnel protection IPsec profile which we configure when we copy and paste it. And that ISACAM should come up. Do an N. Or actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and do a config T. Let's go ahead and do router EIGRP EIGRP 10, no auto summary network 4.4.4.4. That should bring up the EIGRP. So do a show IP EIGRP neighbors, which you see one neighbor. 3.3.3.3, which is the hub. And from over here, from router 2, we should also see the show IP EIGRP neighbors, we should see the same neighbor. And from the hub, we should see 3 neighbors, which is router 2 and router 3. Show IP EIGRP neighbor. You can see 4.4.4.4 and 1.1.1.1. 1.1.1 is this router 2. 4.4.4.4 is router 3. Okay. So also, if you do a show crypto IPv2 SA, we should see that we have 2 tunnels now. Local identity. Or actually, we only see 1 tunnel over here. What's going on? Oh no, we see 2. Sorry for that. I missed this one over here. We just gotta make this bigger so we can see it better. There we go. Do it again. And there we go. The first tunnel, which is 10.10.10.10.30.1, which is the local identity, both are going to be the same because it is the local identity of this hub. It won't change. The only thing that's going to change is the remote identity, which is 10.10.20.1 for router 2, 10.10.10.1, 10.10.10.1. Well, actually 10.10.10.1, which is for router 2, sorry, and 10.10.20.1, which is for router 3. I should have better IP addresses, but that's what I have. And it's going to have the same encryption, the same integrity. As you can see right here, we're using the same Diffie-Hellman group, which is group number 5. We're using the same authentication, which is using pre-shared key and also pre-shared key. So everything is working correctly, just the way we want it. So if you do also a show crypto, if you do a question mark, you can see a lot of stuff that you could see. Show crypto. Let's see what we could do. Show crypto. Identity, you can do IPsec, you can do IPsec. IPsec is for IKE version 1. We're not going to be using that. So let's go into show IPsec. You can just do the profile. It shows you the profile that we have created. You can see the default right here, which we're not using because we created our own over here. You can do a show IPsec transform set, and you can see the transform set that we created. You will see the defaults that we're not using. You could use the default one, but we created our own, which is using the T set over here, right? And if we do a show IP interface brief, we can see that we have virtual access 1 and virtual access 2. Access 2 is for, this one was created for router 3, and the access 1 was created for router 2. Okay, so this is how the hub to spoke communication works. The hub is the one that uses the virtual template, and then these spokes right here, they connect via just a tunnel interface, just a normal tunnel, not a virtual interface. But now, if you want to have spoke to spoke communication between router 2 and router 3, instead of everything going through the hub, we can just go ahead and configure a virtual template over here and a virtual template over here, and then on top of it, we just go ahead and configure NSRP, and NSRP will enable that spoke to spoke communication. And since we are going to be using a normal interface to connect to the hub, and then to connect to the spoke, it's going to be a virtual interface, right? So it's basically router 2 and router 3 are also going to become hubs, right? And something that is not really good about having a hub to spoke communication and not a spoke to spoke is that all the traffic, if router 2 is going to ping router 3, it's going to go to the hub, and the hub is going to send it to router 3. And that's why it is a hub to spoke, because all the traffic goes to the hub. And if the hub goes down, then we won't have any connection. We won't have any connection with router 3. So that's why it's better to have a spoke to spoke communication. because when you have a spoke-to-spoke communication, the first packet goes to the hub, and then everything else goes straight to the spoke, right? In a hub-to-spoke communication, everything has to go to the hub, and if your hub is not as powerful and it cannot handle all the traffic, the network is going to slow down. And that's why, again, it is better to have a spoke-to-spoke communication, because if the hub goes down, everything goes down, right? So I believe this is it for this video, guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, share this video with your wife, with your brother, with your sister, with your daughter, with your dog, with your cat, with everybody. Only if you like this video. Also hit the like button. And if you have a Twitter account, you should go ahead and follow me on Twitter, guys. In my Twitter account, I post a lot of good stuff at CCNA Daily Tips. Okay, if you have a Twitter account. And if you do not have a Twitter account, go ahead and create one and then follow me, right? I know you have a email. If you have an email, you are going to be able to create an account. So this is it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.